Hey guys, what's up? Kurt Hughes here with Ignite Baseball. We're breaking down Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s swing today, and you can kind of see that we got his dad up right here, who one of my favorite hitters of all time. I live in D.C. now, so every once in a while I'll see Montreal Expos jerseys with Vladimir with Guerrero on them, which really pumps me up because I loved watching him growing up. And this swing's from 2007. You just gotta love with the joy that he played the game with, and just the overall awesome aggression in his swing. You can see how much his hips get open before his chest opens, how much blur he gets behind him here. Just an absolute tank of a hitter. Loved watching him. So I wanted to share these with you guys first. This is from the 2007 Home Run Derby, so go back and check it out if you want. There's more full highlights, but these swings are awesome, and these views are awesome. I wish they would still do these more like zoomed in front views in home run derbies these days. Okay, so looking at his son here, though, who's the #3 prospect in all of minor league baseball right now. He hits tanks as well, and probably my favorite thing about his swing, there's a couple things I really like about his swing, and we're going to try to get to all of those. But my favorite thing about his swing is how efficiently he's able to stop his front hip. So I'm just going to show you this one swing, and then I'm going to kind of run it back in slow motion, and we'll look at a couple more, okay? So I'm just going to let it roll, and what I want you to pay attention to is when he gets right here into his landing, I want you to watch how quick, and I'm going to play it in fast motion in a second, but I want to point it out first so you know what you're looking at. I want you to watch how fast this back hip stops and goes in the other direction. So really, your ability to get power into the baseball, whether that's hitting or throwing, and we're going to talk about it, how it translates to throwing in a second as well, is really your ability to slam on the brakes of your front hip and transfer that energy up your body into your barrel. And that's something that Guerrero Jr. does really, really well. So let's just watch this in fast motion. So let's run it back one more time. So just one more time, I'm going to put it at half speed this time. Look at how well he's able to stop his body moving forward. So he has this nice forward move. You can kind of see that. I'm going to put an arrow by his back hip so you can kind of see him moving forward during that step. And then you can see he slams that front foot into the ground and then transfers all that energy up his kinetic chain into his barrel, which allows him to absolutely crush this. You can see how he's leaning back a little bit, so he's able to get that barrel going uphill so he can hit it a long ways. So, you know, he's going to be an awesome hitter, but we got a lot more things to talk about him. So check this out as well. These next two are swing and misses, but I wanted you guys to see the aggression, and you can kind of look at it from this angle here. Watch his front hip as it gets here and disappears. You can see how fast and really how far it moves too. So look at how at the end of his swing he has his front hip behind his back hip, so his belly button's like at the shortstop. That's how aggressive he is, and his bat just ends up at the ground. It's funny, I hear people like saying, oh, it's weird that your guys like finish with their bat on the ground, and really that's just because of the aggression that they're trying to swing with. The reason he ends up there is not because he's actively being like, oh, I need to finish with one hand and look like Ken Griffey Jr. It's because he's swinging really hard, and this is the healthiest way to swing hard and decelerate, because you can use the ground to kind of help stop you and not have to hold your barrel, you know, and really try to stop it with your body so you can go a lot faster. So let's look at it again. This is a different swing, but same story. Really aggressive with the hips, to the ground with the barrel. If you can reach the ground with the barrel, it usually means your hip cleared, so that's a good indicator to look for as well. So here's Scherzer. I'm just going to kind of show you guys how pitchers stop their hip. And this is something that Kyle Bodie at Driveline talks about a lot, and he's absolutely right with pitchers, obviously. He knows a lot more about pitching than I do. But you'll see when he gets into his landing here, you'll see that hip stop and go the other direction, and that's what allows his arm to have so much energy going into the ball, is his ability to slam on the brakes, stop that hip, and really get that ball going super fast forward. And that's exactly how hitters do it as well. So let's look at it a couple more times, and then we'll talk about something a little different with Guerrero Jr. So same story. This is just kind of a miss hit as well, but I wanted to show you some in-game footage as well, and we're going to see more in a minute. But I'm going to play this one half speed again so you can see it. boom, how efficiently he's able to stop that hip. Doesn't really crush this pitch by any means, but lots of good stuff going on in his swing for sure. And the aggression and his ability to stop his front hip are really my two favorite things about that swing. It's the same story here. You can see how quick that barrel just snaps around, and really the reason is because of that hip, and he always ends up on the ground like that. And like I said, kids and parents alike, if you finish on the ground, you know that you're leaning back enough and that your hips cleared. It's an indicator that you did some things right. So it's a good place to start. Like a lot of parents and coaches will think that finishing with a ton of balance is the most important thing, where really finishing in a way where your head doesn't move and where your hips clear and you're lean back is really the most important things. And if you can't support that with your back leg yet, just from a balance issue, then that's totally fine. You'll learn how to balance. So you'll see Guerrero finishes on the ground again here, okay? And you'll see that that's how he's able to keep his head still. So watch, he's a heel plant right here, okay? Here's his head right in the center. And you'll see how still or even a little bit back that moves. So him moving back with his head is really a function of him stopping that hip and going the other direction, because sometimes it results in the pelvis kind of moving backwards a little bit, which moves the head back. But if you don't finish, like at least lean back a little bit, your head will slide forward, and being able to finish on the ground is an indicator to make sure that your head doesn't slide forward. It's super important that you do that. Not that you finish on the ground, that your head doesn't move, but an easy way to make sure your head doesn't move is by finishing on the ground. So, and I've talked about that before in YouTube videos, so check it out. I wanted to share with you guys as well video of him taking BP on this field. I think a lot of times people get fancy about the way they train and where they train and stuff like that, and really the work that you put in is the most important thing, not necessarily the the optics of where you are, like how fancy whatever it is you're doing. If you put in the work, it doesn't matter where you put in the work, it'll translate. And I remember watching this video like 3 or 4 years ago when he was like 16 and just being like, wow, this kid is going to be awesome. And just like his dad was. So hopefully we see the same career trajectory that his dad did. So here's some videos of him just absolutely stealing people's lunch money in games, which is awesome. And his barrel tip is the next thing we're going to talk about. So take a look at how he kind of gets the barrel running, kind of towards like over the plate, and then he kind of brings it back around his shoulder into the zone. And really what that does is allows his barrel to flow into his launch position. So when I say launch position, I don't even really mean position in this case, because a lot of times people talk about wanting to get your barrel back here at foot plant, and that's where his barrel is too, which is great. But it's not really a position for him. It's a transition. And since it's a transition, he's able to translate some of the energy that he obtains kind of moving this way into his swing. So if you're kinetic, it's easy to stay kinetic. If you're static, it's hard to become kinetic. So a lot of hitters will use this type of move in order to get their barrel going beforehand, so it's easier to start. Helps some hitters be a little bit more responsive with pitching. So it's a part speed move, like barrel speed, and power move, and part timing move, because you'll see it in a second how he syncs it up with the pitcher. This one isn't a great video for seeing the pitcher as well, but we'll see it in a minute how he does do that, and he's incredible at kind of dancing with the pitcher to be able to time the ball. So here we are. So watch the pitcher here. His arms break, and the arm kind of getting back or breaking the glove is really Guerrero Jr.'s like indicator that he's going to start moving his barrel. And you should definitely try this. I think if anyone tells you that they know exactly why this works for timing, they're probably lying to you. I won't pretend that I know exactly why barrel tip works for timing, but it does. If you're struggling with timing, give it a try. You'll be shocked by how well it works. But long story short, you can kind of see that he starts moving that barrel up, kind of like a windshield wiper. That's something that Casey Judge says. I like that one. You'll see that it kind of like wipes like the back of his helmet almost, right? You can kind of see that. And then it works around his shoulder into the away pitch, and he absolutely crushes this ball. This one he doesn't finish on the ground as much, and you'll notice since it's an away pitch, he doesn't fully turn as much either. His barrel kind of rolls over right here, where on inside pitches it would roll over more, you know, this way. It would roll over more here, and on away pitches it rolls over like here. So that's really just a barrel direction thing, and he gets it running towards the pitch, which is awesome fundamentals. It's exactly what we're looking for. So let's look at it one more time, or a couple more times actually. So here he is again. Same thing, those arms break, bat starts coming up. He lifts the leg right as he's about seeing the ball, and absolutely crushes another one. He's going to have an awesome career, guys, and you know, you should be looking forward to it like I am, and you know, it's going to be really exciting watching him and Bo Bichette, you know, in the same organization, assuming they don't get traded. I hope they don't get traded, but man, they're going to be good for a really long time. So I'm really excited to watch them at the big league level. And just the other thing that I want you guys to notice as well is that, you know, especially like in some of these swing and miss swings that we were looking at before, really like it doesn't look like the perfect swing, meaning that like from a mechanical perspective, if I'm like grading it out, like, you know, people talk about wanting to have perfect swings all the time, and you know, having a great mechanical pattern is good, but at the same time, the thing that trumps everything is your confidence, your athleticism, and your ability to access the same or similar movements every single time. And you know, whether those movements are perfect or not is less important than your ability to get back to them. And one of the things that Guerrero Jr. does really, really well is he flows into his swing. He stays super athletic, and you'll notice that his barrel tip is really, really similar every time, and that is one of the reasons that he's super successful. So I'm pumped to watch his career develop. I hope you guys are too. Make sure, if you really like my stuff, subscribe to my page. It really does help me a lot. And, you know, I try to put out YouTube content, Facebook content, you know, at least 4 or 5 times a week. And I'm on Instagram all the time as well, and Twitter. So make sure that you guys check that out. Ignite_baseball on Twitter, Ignite Baseball LLC on Facebook, and just Ignite Baseball on YouTube. So appreciate your guys' support. Talk to you soon.